Warning, spoilers.
Hey everyone, how's it going? The reason why this video has come out so late is because there has been some difficulty. Um, so I've decided to review three things in one day. First, Cirque to Freak, the Vampire's Assistant, Vampire's Apprentice, and then Teen Wolf, and then the Marvel Zombies 4 book. Um, so let's begin.
The movie is based on a series of books, and as I've heard, is actually in this movie is actually a combination of the two. It's about a kid named Darren Shane and his friend Steve, who are big fans of certain things. Steve's a fan of vampires, and Darren's a fan of spiders. Now, when the circus comes to town, they check it out, and Steve recognizes one of the performers. And Crespley, the name of the guy, has a spider that Darren really likes. Now the weird thing is though that the spider looks a lot like the spider from Spider-Man 1, and it really doesn't help that when he talks about how they both like these certain things. There's an image of DNA, red and blue, and there's spiders crawling all over the place. Except this time, there's bats. It's kind of a little weird to me that they kind of ripped off that scene. Um, then, when he steals the spider from Crespley, um, weird stuff happens, and Steve gets bitten. And he goes to Crespley and asks if he can help his friend. He says, what, I'll help you, but you have to be my assistant. Which means that you'll have to cut ties from your friends and family. You'll never be able to see them again. I'll give you some time with them for a while, and after that, you have to come with me. And he, has no choice to agree, or his friend will die. So he makes him a half vampire because he needs him to guard his coffin, but he wants him to have the strength as well. Um, so we have like basically a montage of showing how his vampire's abilities are growing. He's basically eating raw meat. He destroys a chalkboard, and yet no one's actually thinking about this. Even his best friend, who's an expert on vampires. Um, and when the day finally comes, he talks about how it'll be really lonely and how you'll probably have to see your loved ones age while you just stay young. And Crespo kind of talks about this girl that he really loved who broke his heart, but even when he saw her as a really old woman, he still really liked her. Um, it's it was a really nice moment, and it ends really really weirdly when he actually snaps his neck and they head to the funeral. It's like kind of dark humor, but it's really sudden. Um, so afterwards, he goes to the circus, and we have a big montage of him talking to the freaks, and trying to learn who these guys are and how they came to be to the circus, how these guys work, all that stuff. Um, while that's happening, the villain story, Mr. Tiny, a guy who has something really big in plan for Darren and Steve, um, talks to Steve and tells him that his friend's still alive, and he's basically taken his dream. Because Steve actually goes to Crespley earlier in the movie, and he tells him that he wants to be a vampire, but Crespley says no to him, um, saying that his blood's tainted with evil, and he's really mad at him. He's like saying, screw you then, and you know, he kind of just storms off. And now when he finds out about this, he ain't happy about hearing that his friend is alive and he's being a vampire. And he gets told that he can be a vampinese. And a vampinese is basically a more vicious species of vampire. They're more vicious and more, deadly. And he agrees to this, and he becomes, a vampinese, and he's kind of, he's basically this. He's nothing really different about him except he's more, evil now. He's now just willing to kill. Um, and once he actually decides to kidnap his family, and the two fight. Now, the fight scenes are okay, but the CGI kind of ruins it with them trying to do it in super fast speed. It kind of just ruins the effect. The acting in the movie is pretty good. I have to say, the weakest one had been Chris Massaglia, who played Darren Shane. I thought, he wasn't really trying. I think he was kind of the weakest of them all. The actor that played Mr. Tiny was kind of over the top, but he didn't do that bad of a job. The movie's okay. They didn't, alter the mythology that much where they have to make vampires, you know, like the vampires in that series that I shall never name anymore. Um, so, this isn't so bad, but there's so many freaking montages in the movie that I just think are unnecessary. I get it. Like, he's having fun and learning who these guys are, and it's kind of cool seeing some of these freaks, but it's kind of about it. Can we get the actual story here? I don't know why. Maybe it's because I didn't read the books. Maybe that, like, maybe the book had more focus on this. I don't know. I probably have to look more up on this. um but that's all I really have to say in here. If you are gonna check this out, I would say
So that's
just
all I
rent
gotta
it.
say.
It's nothing really special
Next
about it.
time I'll be reviewing.
And that's all I gotta say.
What the heck is this doing here? It's not December yet. Damn, I find more Christmas stuff everywhere.